It's the morning star drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the morning star drive, you know.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Friday, July 1st, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So what is happening on this wonderful Friday? We've got current news from around the world, the word study about the Wednesday message, and let's testify with Thule from Australia. All right, everyone, how are you doing? It is Friday. Yes, it is, and I hope that you guys are going to enjoy an amazing and awesome weekend, have some fun, relaxation, realizations, new directions through the Sunday message. So let's get things kicked off here together on the Morning Star Drive. Let's go. All right, so for me, it's still Thursday over here, while you guys in Asia are a day ahead of us. Well, I think you guys are roughly around, you're more than half a day ahead of us. So, you guys will be getting this on Friday. I am actually doing this in Vancouver right before my flight. It is very, very early. It's like it's like not even 9 a.m. at this moment, but I don't usually record this early, but I do have to take a flight, and the flight is in several hours, so I got to get this done as quickly as possible. But I'm very thankful that I got everything prepared and ready last night, so I could do it really early today. I did exercise at 7 a.m., so I'm super happy about that. But either way, really, really happy and thankful I can get this last podcast in before the end of the week. And you guys do know, I told you before, I'm going on the National SS Retreat in San Francisco. And it's going to be deep in the forest where there is no cellular connection. Like, your phones don't work. So I'm like, okay, I'm kind of nervous because I need to do the Monday podcast while I'm out in the bushes out there, right? However, they did say there is Wi-Fi there. I don't know how fast it is, but I'm definitely going to have to try my best to record everything and then send it through that Wi-Fi. I'm really, really hoping it works, or maybe I'll do something live instead. I'm not sure, but just to let you know, Monday there is a possibility there might not be a podcast because the Wi-Fi is not strong enough, or doesn't work, or it's taking like 20 hours and I had to leave, or whatever it is like that. So just kind of giving you a forewarning, that is a very possible thing that can happen. Now, there's something special about July 1st, and a lot of you might be wondering, like, oh, what's so special about it? Like, June 1st is special because it's Alpha Day, right? But July 1st is special. Why? Because it's Canada Day. Oh, Canada. It is Canada Day today. So I am super, super happy, I guess. Yeah, I am happy. It is Canada Day, and many of you will be celebrating, well, only in Canada with fireworks and such. But it's kind of cool because, I'm from Canada. I'm wearing my Canada shirt right now. And then I'll be in America for Canada Day, and then July 4th is Independence Day for America, so I'll be there for both of those holidays. So I'm pretty excited about that too. But yeah, it is Canada Day, guys. So I hope that all of you in Canada, happy Canada Day. If is there another special day? There might be someone's birthday or something. So put it in the post below. All right, guys. Oh yeah, and you know what? I'm so thankful for all you guys out there that are continuously liking and commenting and just putting out, how things are going. It's just good to see the community starting to come together even more. So let's build the community, all right? July 1st is not only Canada Day, it is the official crossing over of the halfway point of the year, right? So what we do know is like there's 12 months, and the middle of the year is going to be right in between June and July, which means July 1st is that day you cross over into the second half of the year. And that sounds pretty crazy, guys, that half a year is already gone in 2022. 2023 is just around the corner, and we need to keep praying, keep doing things in a better and better way. And, we know that 2023 is from the time times half times lesson. We just don't know what it means anymore because a lot of things have changed. So I hope that if anything else, we got to keep that prayer condition going and make sure that we are prepared for 2023, because we don't know what that means and we don't know what's going to happen. All right. Also, last night, did you guys check out not last night, this would actually be Friday morning for a lot of you out there, but the Espresso with Sky video was out last night. Thursday evening in America, I guess, and Europe. It's Thursday evening or late night, and that one is God's love unconditional, right? So that's kind of the big point that people are trying to figure out is if God really loves everyone unconditionally, then does that mean that why isn't everyone saved? Because if he really loves everyone unconditionally, shouldn't everyone be saved? So that's one of the questions that someone brought up. So I hope that you guys will enjoy that one, you and your newcomers. And feature arts of the day. Let's get into some music. Member artists from around the world, and we have some talented artists, and I hope you guys are really enjoying it. You'll find them all on SoundCloud. They're all there. Let's go into our feature arts of the day on this relaxing Friday, and we're gonna start off, of course. Brand new song that dropped from Juice Star Aiden Verity over there in New Zealand. That song's called Crystal Clear, and she did an intro for it. I know a lot of people are watching these, listening to these podcasts, but some people miss the Monday or the Tuesday, or sometimes we don't get to hear every single day. So I'm gonna play this one last time with the intro for this week. It's gonna be Juice Star from New Zealand with Crystal Clear. The second song is going to be The Sky from Japan with Spring Emotion. We haven't heard that one in a while. And last but not least, we have PGY from the Pip Music Associates in Korea with Wherever.
Kia ora, Morning Star Drive. This is Juice Star, or Aiden Verity as you'll find me online. This time of year is Matariki in Aotearoa, New Zealand. That is the Māori New Year. And this year is the first time that it is being observed as an official public holiday. It is a time to reflect on the past year and make fresh plans, which is great for taking action during the second half of 2022. Fitting with the time of year, I was inspired to share a song today about friendship. I wrote this very quickly during the week that Sansanim spoke about a heart that is pleasing to God, to give strength to a dear Providence friend. And as I was finishing the song, I wanted to dedicate it to all my friends and spiritual family. It's called Crystal Clear. I hope you enjoy it.
Crystal clear waters of blue. It feels like 17 years since I saw you, and I've been waiting for a chance to come back to the river where we met, back to the river, to the fair one said. Crystal clear thoughts in my mind. When I get tangled up, you help me unwind. The voice of reason when times are hard. Your heart is pleasing, pleasing to God. crystal clear, beguile and be wild. You're free to roam the globe, you're free to smile. I wish you would beside me, my confidant, to comfort and guide me whenever I'm alone. To comfort and guide me whenever I'm alone.
달의 연가를 들으며 홀로 도시를 걸었어요. 당신이 없는 이태원은 불빛은 한없이 어두워요. 여기엔 나 말고 아무도 없는 건가요? 아무것도 보이지가 들리지가 않는 거예요. 맞아요, 도시는 지금 텅 비었어요. 심장이 멈추어버린 내 차가운 가슴과 같아요. 눈물이 떨어져 빗물과 하나가 됐을 때 머리를 울리는 당신의 외침이 들려. 나의 이름을 불러. 그러면 내가 너의 옆에 있을게. 부르고 또 불러. 그러면 네가 나의 옆에 있을 거야. 보이지 않는다고 없는 게 아니니까. 아무리 어두워도 내일은 오니까. 태양의 등불은 어디에나 있어줄게. 그러니 울지마. That I'm compromised. It couldn't be perfect. I wouldn't carry on anymore. I just thought I was insane, that no one could even understand me. It was hard to know how it became with the one from the Little Prince. Where were you, my tiny flare? I know you don't have any fear. I believe in you and the change that I'm going through. I can't hear you on the silent avenue. Now show me your smile again. 나의 뜨거운 불로 너의 아픔까지 모두 다 태워줄게. 다시 한번 불러. 네가 나를 잊지 않게 만들 거야. 느껴지지 않는다고 없는 게 아니니까. 아무리 추워도 봄은 오는 거니까. 너의 태양은 어디에나 있어줄게.
And there it is. That is Wherever. That's from PGY from PMA in Korea. Hope you guys enjoyed that song. Before that, The Sky from Japan was Spring Emotion. And of course, Star over there in New Zealand with her brand new song that just dropped last weekend. That is Crystal Clear. And that's for her friends and spiritual family. All right, everyone, let's get into some current news going on around the world. A lot of things going on each and every day. I was just talking to a good buddy of mine from Singapore. and we're just talking about, oh, we both just had COVID. We're like, hey, watch out for monkeypox. Oh, watch out for, we're just like, oh my goodness, there's just too many things going on. And what's even crazier is, like, when we're talking, we're not like talking as a joke. It's like a semi joke, but we wouldn't be surprised if there was another pandemic of something else. We'd just be like, oh my goodness, this too? And that's kind of how the last 2 years have been. One thing after another. And this is even crazier, guys. I got my haircut just a couple days ago, and my stylist, she was telling me that, oh, she went to travel somewhere to visit a friend. And I was like, what happened? And this person had a brain aneurysm, and then they got paralyzed and they can't see. But now there's this friend of theirs who's only 35 or 36, just starting to see again. I'm like, what? And like she's been this person's been in the hospital for this long, and then I was like, oh my god. And then she says, and then her fiance dumped her during that time, and I'm like, what? And I was like, wow, like that's what this last 2 years have felt like. Just one thing coming after another, and this is why it really requires a lot of us, like all of us, we should be praying even more, right? So the 3 reasons why Sunsim said we should listen to the world news is, number 1 is to see what God is doing. Also, see what we need to report and pray about. And last but not least is, what are the things we can comfort God's heart in, all right? So let's start off with the Russia-Ukraine crisis. What has happened over the last 24 hours? And there was that big NATO summit that they just had, and a lot of things came out of it, but the U.S. is now going to ramp up military presence across Europe. So the U.S. will increase its military presence across Europe as NATO agreed a fundamental shift in its response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A permanent army headquarters will be created in Poland, while new U.S. warships will go to Spain, fighter jets to the UK, and ground troops to Romania. Biden said NATO was needed now more than it has ever been, and the alliance is having its biggest overhaul since the Cold War, NATO head Jens Stoltenberg said. The new plan is in response to Russia's invasion will mean more than 300,000 troops at high readiness next year, up from the current level of 40,000. Now, Biden told the summit in Madrid that NATO would be strengthened in all directions across every domain, land, air, and sea. The UK's Ministry of Defence has also said it is significantly increasing the availability of forces to NATO's collective defence, with more warships, fighter jets, and land forces on standby, although the MOD said it would not give details on numbers as they are militarily sensitive. The U.S. announcement sees it shore up its presence across the continent, but particularly in Eastern Europe, where the new permanent headquarters for its 5th Army Corps will be based. Biden repeated the alliance's commitment to defend every inch of its territory, saying, "We mean it when we say an attack against one is an attack against all." So what are some of the measures that are included in this new, military package? They're going to boost the fleet of U.S. naval destroyers in Spain from 4 to 6, an additional rotational brigade in Romania consisting of 3,000 fighters and another 2,000 personnel combat team, 2 more squadrons of F-35 stealth jets to the UK, an additional air defense, and other capabilities in Germany and Italy. So that sounds pretty serious right now. Like we're hedging up for World War III or something along that line. Of course, it's not going to happen, but yeah, it's getting serious, and we need to pray about this. Also, finally, it's official. Turkey is now supporting Finland and Sweden to join NATO. NATO member Turkey has agreed to support Sweden and Finland's membership of the alliance, and it had initially opposed the Nordic countries' bids to join, but Turkey was angered by what it saw as their willingness to host Kurdish militants. Sweden and Finland could not join NATO without Turkey's support. Russia strongly opposes the 2 states joining and has used the expansion of the West's defensive military alliance as a pretext for its war in Ukraine. But Moscow's invasion has had the opposite effect, with the path now clear for the 2 countries to join NATO. 4 ministers from the 3 countries signed a joint security pact that addressed Turkey's concerns. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg said Sweden agreed to step up its work on Turkish extradition requests of suspected militants. The 2 Nordic nations will also lift their restrictions on selling weapons to Turkey, and Finland's President Niinisto said the 3 countries signed the joint memorandum to extend their full support against threats to each other's security. So it looks like 2 more countries joining NATO. Right, so that's pretty big news there, right there, and that's why a lot of Christians are saying that we're ramping up for World War III, which is the end of the world, and Jesus is going to come and take them away. And this is why we did that question yesterday of why are people moving to the forest, right? It's because they believe this is the end of the world, the last days, which we don't believe physically, right? So let's move on to Paris, France, and there was a trial that just went on. The guy's name is Salah Abdeslam. And he's guilty as this historic trial ends. So what happens here is the only the surviving attacker from the group that carried out the November 2015 Paris attacks has been found guilty of terrorism and murder charges. Salah Abdeslam received a rare full life sentence for his role in the gun and bomb attacks that killed 130 people. Remember, this is from 2015. The court also convicted 19 other men involved, 6 of whom are believed to be dead. The trial, the biggest in modern French history, began last September. For more than 9 months, victims, journalists, and the families of the dead lined up outside the specially built courtroom in Paris to piece together the story of the worst attack in France since World War II. The attacks across bars, restaurants, and national football stadiums and Bataclan music venue on November 13th, 2015 saw hundreds injured alongside those killed. At the beginning of the trial, Abdeslam was defiant, describing himself as a soldier of the so-called Islamic State group, but then later he apologized to the victims, telling the court in his closing remarks that he was not a murderer or a killer, and that to convict him of murder would be an injustice. And he also claimed during the trial that he decided not to detonate his suicide vest on the night of the attack and disposed of it in a Paris suburb. However, the court accepted evidence that the suicide vest was defective, and therefore it did not believe that Abdeslam had experienced a last-minute change of heart. His full life sentence means there is only a small chance of parole after 30 years. It is the most severe penalty for criminals in France and is rarely handed down by the country's courts. So finally, justice is being served in that horrendous attack. Think about that. 130 people died in those bombs and shootings, right? Last but not least, we are going to go to Israel. And we know that Israel, they are dissolving their parliament, and now they're going to have another election. They're going to get a new PM and hold their 5th election in less than 4 years. Okay, so you know something's not going right. So Yair Lapid is poised to become Israel's new prime minister, with parliament preparing to dissolve itself and trigger the country's 5th election in less than 4 years. Mr. Lapid, the leader of the centrist Yesh Atid party and foreign minister, will take over from Naftali Bennett under an existing power-sharing deal. They formed an unlikely 8-party coalition after last year's election. However, it collapsed last week, clearing the way for fresh polls. It also creates an opening for Israel's longest-serving prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, to return to office despite being on trial on corruption charges, which he denies. Netanyahu, whose right-wing Likud party is predicted to remain the largest in the Knesset, was ousted by Mr. Bennett and Mr. Lapid last June, breaking 2 years of political stalemate. Ahead of the vote to dissolve the Knesset, which has been delayed until Thursday morning, Mr. Bennett told members of his right-wing Yamina party that he would not be standing in the upcoming election, his spokesman said, and he will serve as alternate prime minister under Mr. Lapid until then. Mr. Lapid, 58-year-old former TV news anchor, will serve as caretaker prime minister until an election is held in late October or early November. He was tasked with forming a governing coalition after Mr. Netanyahu and his allies were unable to secure a majority in the wake of the March 2021 poll. Mr. Lapid agreed to rotate the premiership with Mr. Bennett as part of a deal that brought together the coalition, and Mr. Bennett had been due to hand over power to him in September 2023. The government was the most diverse in Israel's history, comprising of 8 parties from across the political spectrum, including those with ideologically opposing views. It also contained an independent Arab party for the first time since the state was established in 1948. Now, despite Mr. Bennett's attempts to focus only on issues where parties could work together, it started to fray towards the end of its first year, becoming a minority government when a member of Yamina quit earlier this month. In an emotional TV address last week, Mr. Bennett said he and Mr. Lapid had turned over every single rock to try to keep the coalition going, but that they had run out of options. Mr. Netanyahu welcomed the announcement as great news for millions of Israeli citizens. The recent opinion poll suggests that Likud and Yesh Atid would gain seats if an election were held right now, but that no coalition would be able to form a majority government, resulting in further stalemate. So that's big stuff, and it's happening in Israel too. So let's see what happens, what God does in this situation also. All right. So that means let's get into some sporting news. All the major sports, like, baseball just started. Not really interested in baseball that much, but we have NBA, NHL, NFL, soccer. Everything's finished, right? We're just waiting for the World Cup and waiting for the NFL football season to be starting in August, I believe. Right. So there are some things going on. First of all, we have some in the NBA. We got some trades that have already happened. DeJounte Murray from the San Antonio Spurs has been traded to the Atlanta Hawks, and this guy almost averaged a triple-double. It's like 22 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. He is, and he's only 25 years old, big talent. And the Hawks have made the biggest addition to the NBA this offseason so far. And what they did was they sent over Gallinari and also 3 first-round picks, 2 of them unprotected. So it's going to be quite crazy. And it looks like there's a big rebuild for San Antonio, and looks like Atlanta's going to shoot for the stars. James Harden, he denies his $47.3 million option this year. So basically what's happening is Harden keeps real the possibility of negotiating a new deal with Philly that would deliver the Sixers roster-building flexibility in free agency, including use of the full $10.5 million exception. In Harden's conversations with the team since the end of the season, he has shared extensively his desire to help the organization reshape the roster towards championship contention. Right? So the opt-out could go a long way in reshaping the Sixers bench, including that full mid-level exception, which is over $10 million, and also the $4.1 million biennial exception and sign-and-trade deals. So, yeah, he's leaving a lot of money on the table. He might, I don't know what his deal is going to be, but it might be way lower than 47.3, which a lot of players won't do. Also, Washington Wizards star Bradley Beal declines a $36.4 million option, but it looks like he will sign again with the Washington Wizards on a 5-year, $253 million max contract. So that would be quite crazy to see that happen too. And last but not least, it's Patty Mills over there in Brooklyn, declining his option. He becomes a free agent, and he had a $6.2 million option. And I think he'll get way more in free agency. So let's see what happens there. And the Milwaukee Bucks, Bobby Portis declines his $4.6 million option to become an NBA free agent. He was one of the key cogs in their 2021 NBA championship run for the Milwaukee Bucks. But let's see what happens. They might, the maximum Portis can sign is 4 years at $49 million. And, because Milwaukee has the bird rights, they can sign him for the 5th year. So let's see what happens here with Bobby Portis. Will be another big person on the block too. Over there in soccer also seeing a lot of trades and trades and loans happening. Romelu Lukaku, he seals an Inter Milan return on loan from Chelsea. He's completing a stunning return to Inter Milan on loan from Chelsea. Lukaku's only 29 years old, and he had a rough season following his $115 million euro move to Stamford Bridge from Inter last summer, scoring 8 goals in 26 Premier League appearances. And sources told ESPN that Chelsea had originally demanded a loan fee of around 20 million euro for Lukaku, but eventually accepted a structured deal totaling around 12 million, including bonuses. And sources also add that Inter Milan will also cover the striker's £300,000 a week wage. Last but not least, we have 2 more. Antoine Griezmann expected to stay at Atletico Madrid despite salary cap squeeze, sources say. So that's good news for them. He's on 2-year loan from Barcelona. And last but not least, in Dortmund, Dortmund is seeking a £103 million transfer fee for Jude Bellingham. And there's Manchester United, Liverpool, Real Madrid all having interest in this young striker. Right, so This, they're 103 million pounds for this young England stars transfer. A lot of teams, even Real Madrid, are looking for him. 19 years old. Well, he's a midfielder, but he's 19 years old. And in order to get this guy to move on, they want a lot of money in the transfer. Bellingham has contributed 11 goals from 32 starts over there in the Bundesliga, and best performances coming from the center of midfield, and that has seen him on the radars of multiple clubs across Europe. So we'll see what happens there also. Oh, last but not least, Tottenham Hotspur are edging closer to signing Richarlison, right? The Brazilian striker. And it's reported that they have reached full agreement over personal terms with the 25-year-old Everton forward, and they will soon commence talks that look to finalize over a transfer fee. Richarlison contributed to 15 goals in 30 Premier League appearances last season. All right, so there it is, guys. That is the top 3 news in sports and top 3 news around the world. And what does that mean, guys? It is the golden time. And it is the golden time, a time of praise and worship to the Holy Trinity. Hope you guys will really enjoy this time together, just as the Holy Trinity is looking forward to us giving them worship and praise. So what are we going to sing today? We're going to start off with Never-Changing Heart for the Lord, What Faith Has Given Me, and then we'll end off with an oldie but a goodie. It is My Confession to the Lord.
When I first met the Lord, in my heart I knew stronger now. The more and more I realize this history of God, I am more certain and certain now. I am more certain and certain now. My faith is stronger and stronger now. The more I testify of the perfect word of God, I am more certain and certain now. As I kept on climbing higher peaks, my faith grew firm and strong, unshakable. My God has proven all of this. The Holy Spirit witnesses. No matter who it is, they can't deny I've changed. My faith fills me with strength. My faith gives me power. The Trinity poured out their power on me. My faith fills me with love. They strengthen my love. The Trinity poured out their love on me. My unwavering faith in the Lord. I am more certain and certain now. My faith is stronger and stronger now. The more I testify for this history of God, I am more certain and certain now. As I kept on climbing higher peaks, my faith grew firm and strong, unshakable. My God has proven all of this. The Holy Spirit witnesses. No matter who it is, they can't deny I've changed. My faith fills me with strength. My faith gives me power. The Trinity poured out their power on me. My faith fills me with love. They strengthen my love. The Trinity poured out their love on me. My unwavering faith in the Lord. My unwavering faith in the Lord. My unwavering faith in the Lord. Now come what may, I'll never change. No matter what comes my way, whatever may happen, I'll never waver again. My faith will grow stronger each day. Now come what may, I'll never change. No matter what comes my way, whatever may happen, I'll never waver again. My faith will grow stronger each day. Now come what may, I'll never change. No matter what comes my way, whatever may happen, I'll never wait. recall when I first met you, my Lord, how I made up my mind, how I decided I would learn from you only, focusing on this word alone. I have seen how you really live your life. I have seen for myself. Now I will not be shaken, whatever comes. I have seen you, Lord, so how could I share? I will serve you, Lord, you who are the King of 10,000 kings. And I'll love you, Lord, forever as my bridegroom. I'll love you more. You've become my everything. I've given all my life to you. Please use me according to your way. When I saw the Almighty shine through you, I got down on my knees. Surely the Trinity are working through you. I confess to you through these burning tears. I will serve you, Lord, you are the King of 10,000 kings. And I'll love you, Lord, forever as my bridegroom. I'll love you more. You've become my everything. I've given all my life to you. Please use me according to your way. Everything, the work you've done, the word you breathe, I can testify that all these things are true. I preach with the spirit of truth. I will serve you, Lord, you who are the King of 10,000 kings. And I'll love you, Lord, forever as my bridegroom. I'll love you more. You've become my everything. I've given all my life to you. Please use me according to your ways. I will serve you, Lord, you who are the King of 10,000 kings. And I'll love you, Lord, forever as my bridegroom. I'll love you more. You're the only one I love. There's no one else, there's nothing lost. I love you, so please receive my love. You're the only one I love. There's no one else, there's nothing more. I love you, so please receive my love.
And And there it is. That is the oldie but goodie. That is my confession to the Lord. Before that, what faith has given me, and of course, never changing heart for the Lord. All right. So let us get into today's word study. And of course, every single Friday, we are doing the Wednesday message word study. And this week's message, of course, value people and realize. And I hope that a lot of us are really kind of seeing that this could be a one-way relationship, knowing how much God values us, but we also have to realize how much do we value God, right? And that's another kind of big point that kind of came into my mind is God is valuing us so much to the point where he's using parables about nature to show how valuable we are, how much more valuable we are than trees and rocks, when we are the greatest of all his creation. We are the masterpiece. So I hope that it kind of puts into our hearts and our minds, this is how much God really, truly loves us that much. So how much do we love him back, right? Are we giving ordinary thanks? Are we just looking at things in an ordinary way? Or are we looking at each other, looking at nature, looking at ourselves, looking at the Holy Trinity in a different way? And of course, it is the action item of the week is pray to God, right? Pray to God that he opens your eyes and opens your eyes to the value of everything that we have, right? From ourselves, each other, whatever it is, right? So I do like this week's, the Wednesday message. One thing I did like about it is showing us the importance of parables itself, right? You know, it was like that verse, Jesus said he spoke in parables so that people can see, hear, and understand, which means that, you know, it's kind of like the concept of value itself. Value is something that is so conceptual, is not something that someone can just give to you like an item. Like, hey, I go to the store, I grab a Snickers bar, and I give them money, and boom, I have a Snickers bar. But you can't do that when it comes to value. Like, value something is very conceptual and has to be realized. And what God is saying here to us is, you know why I speak in parables? Is because you can't see, hear, or understand, and I need you to understand from what I'm showing you right in front of your face. There's something that is so conceptual like value, right? Value is a concept. And what has to happen is, in order for us to get the point better, you need to see it, right? You need to see it or understand it from, from nature, something right in front of you. And this is why one of the ultimate parables that Sunsim has given to us, what God has given us, is Wonmyeongdong. If you really think about it, it's there to show us the value, the conceptual things. What is heaven on earth? What is that concept? What is love? What does it mean to develop? What does it mean to value something? All those things can be explained in God's temple. And that's quite amazing when you think about this, that this was created. This is the visible parable that all God needs to make is this one place to show us everything. Everything conceptual can be figured out just by looking at Wonmyeongdong, right? Think about it over the last couple of weeks, showing us so many rocks and trees, how they were found, how they were developed, how they look better right now, how they were managed. And we're looking at all this time and effort put into these things. And then he says, in the same way, realize how precious people are. That's it. And you're like, all that work and everything there where people's eyes are being opened to rocks and trees and what, these crazy concepts inside Wonmyeongdong. But in the end, it's about realize how precious, how valuable you are. And then you'll be used more valuably, just like this tree, just like this rock. Like, we're looking at some of these trees that some seems like, remember he's talking about some trees that he's like, all right, Holy Spirit, there's no more valuable root trees now, so let's just move on. And then he finds like 10 more. Right? Like that first tree with the saw tree, right? The Holy Spirit inspired him to dig out the dirt, and then he finds these 6 unique characteristics, right? And he's like, in the same way, valuable people in Providence, you will have no idea until you dig them up, right? And looking at this, you're like, wow, Like that tree looks amazing. I like the roots when he puts those white rocks, like small rocks, so you can see the roots better. I thought that was amazing. I think it's amazing how he even thought about that. And what did Sunstein say? He said, he says, just like these trees that expose their roots that are so wide and deep, you have to also deeply root your faith and make it really wide so you can survive no matter where you are. Extend your roots of faith wide and deep, right? And then after that, he's finding tree after tree after tree. And I think the total was something like 7 or 8 trees he found altogether that all have rare shaped roots. And they became masterpieces. So this great point that Sunstein's bringing up is he's talking about himself, is realization from himself. Remember when in the very beginning on Sunday, he's like, you look at, if you look at God's nature ordinarily, then what happens? Then you will give thanks ordinarily. He's talking about himself. He's talking about himself going through Wonmundong and looking at things in such an ordinary way. But when when the Holy Spirit opens his eyes to it, he's like, what? This is how great this really is. Sunstein looked at these trees as ordinary, passed by them for 40 years. But then only now, after 40 years, he begins to realize how amazing these trees are. And this is the same as us. Sometimes we're going to be with people, we're not going to know how amazing or how great they are until later. And it's going to take a long time, but we have to be those that don't just look at everything in an ordinary way. Like when you look at the rock, right? In the Bible, Sunstein said that, Jesus is the rock, and whoever has good faith will, set their foundation of their house on the rock or plant their tree on the rock, which is people setting their faith on the rock of Christ, laying down deep roots of faith, extending far and wide. And the roots, the Sunstein says, is your mind and your thoughts, right? The roots are your mind and your thoughts. Are they deeply rooted in faith? Are your thoughts deeply rooted in faith? He's also said the roots are the roots of the word. It's about spirituality, right? So you're like, oh, wow. So then these roots is I have to take in the word and then let it grow my roots even more and become even more spiritual. We have to realize how valuable people are, no matter how many faults that they have. It doesn't mean we're best friends. It doesn't mean we have to hang out with them every single day, but we need to realize the value. We do. So there are many people in this history that have been faithful from the beginning until now. And we need to realize their value. We need to realize our value. Who are the ones that are valuable? The ones that have deep faith? The ones that do well and are faithful and growing valuably even right now until today, even though things are pretty hectic and crazy. So we need to realize the value, the unique qualities, develop ourselves, make ourselves clean. Then we'll be used more valuably. I know a ton of people will always, when I was head leader, I heard it all the time. Why am I not being used? Why am I not being used? Right? And there's 2 answers to it from today's message. Number 1 is people may not see the value in you. Right? So they're looking at you in an ordinary way, so they treat you ordinary and you do ordinary things when you can do bigger things. So there's one. But the second one is you're not developing yourself. You're not making yourself clean. Right? So we see 2 parts of it. One is the development of self, making yourself clean to be used more valuably. And the other one is the leaders or the people outside around you, their eyes need to be open, right? There's 2 different parts to it. And this is why when Sunstein says something like, discover who have been people who've been faithful until now, use them well, that is bigger because it has to do with people seeing you and also you seeing yourself. We sometimes, even though we're next to people, we don't know how valuable they are. So since God and the Holy Spirit help you to realize, we have to find valuable people, pray for our eyes to be open, see them differently, treat them differently, give them missions that they can be used valuably, realize, discover. And here's one note that I want to give you guys is just because you see value in someone doesn't mean you should give them like a head leading position. Just because you see value in someone doesn't mean you should be an assistant leader or even a department leader. people, if they have value, sometimes it's raw and that needs to be developed first. They need to be trained first rather than just giving them a position, which I see is a big mistake that is done a lot. Is Sunseam says we have to treat people well, give them the right missions, but we kind of just throw them into these huge missions and they don't really know what to do. So they're valuable, but they haven't learned, and we've thrown them into the deep waters, right? So that's one thing I would kind of be the thing that you have to think about is, am I just throwing them into the deep, or am I training them to swim, getting them ready, building them up so that they can do that mission, right? This is the week, guys. We had a couple days left. We got to give thanksgiving, not ordinary. Give big thanksgiving, love, and glory to God and the Holy Spirit. And then I know that all of us will be used valuably more than anything else. All right? That is what do you call it? What was that? What did we just do? Wednesday message review. Word study. Hope you guys really enjoyed that more than anything else. Drop a comment below if it's something that you really enjoyed. Okay? So that leads us into Musical Friday. Song of choice for today. It is Friday, Musical Friday. What are we going to do for Musical Friday? We're going to have a good time because we had a request from Christy over there on YouTube. And she said this song has a lot to do. She feels that this has a lot to do with this week's message. And it's from the Prince of Egypt musical. And it's called Through Heaven's Eyes. So here it is from the original cast, from not the movie musical, but the actual musical itself. This is Through Heaven's Eyes from the Prince of Egypt.
I don't have a story anymore. I'm just a stranger in a strange land.
We all have a story, but not all of us know what it is. A single thread in a tapestry, though its color brightly shine, can never see its purpose in the pattern of the grand design. And the stone that sits on the very top of the mountain's mighty face, does it think it's more important than the stones that form the base? So how can you see what your life is worth, or where your value lies? You can never see through the eyes of man. You must look at your life. Look at your life through heaven's eyes. A lake of gold in the desert sand is less than a cool, fresh spring. And to one lost sheep, a shepherd boy is greater than the richest king. If a man lose everything he owns, has he truly lost his worth? Or is it the beginning of a new and brighter birth? So how do you measure the worth of a man? In wealth or strength or size? In how much he gained or how much he gave? The answer will come. The answer will come to him who tries to look at his life through heaven's eyes. And that's why we share all we have with you, though there's little to be found. When all you've got is nothing, there's a lot to go around. No life can escape being blown about by the winds of change and chance. And though you never know all the steps, you must learn to join the dance. You must learn to join the dance. By what he builds or buys, you can never see with your eyes on earth. Look through heaven's eyes. Look at your life. Look at your life. Look at your life through heaven's eyes.
And there it is. That is from the Prince of Egypt musical, and that song is called Through Heaven's Eyes. And that is recommended from Christy over there on YouTube. So thank you so much for that recommendation. Always looking forward to more and more recommendations from all of you guys out there. All right, so let's get into the last segment of the day and for the entire week. Super grateful and thankful because every Friday we look forward to it. It is Thule over there in Australia doing amazing work for this program of Let's Testify. We're meeting lots of different people from all over the world. I hope you guys really enjoy this. Everyone, please welcome Thule giving her own testimony in Let's Testify.
Hi everyone, this is Thule from Australia, and this is the next episode of Let's Testify. So this is the place where you can testify about what's happening in your life. You can testify about your realizations. Whatever you like, just testify. You can send your testimony to me through the email address below. Either send me the actual recording or a link to the recording if it's too large to send on an email. And my email is in the description box below. Today, I have decided that I'm going to share my testimony. It's a collection of little realizations, reflections, and testimonies from my daily life this week. Who am I? I am a teacher, and I've been teaching in the classroom since 2016, and I've been teaching before that for around 20 years as an instrumental music teacher, so teaching piano, violin, composition, orchestra, string quartets, etc. This week in Australia is mid-year for us, mid-school year. Our school year starts at the end of January or early February, and it goes all the way till a couple of days before Christmas. So it's hot when we start and it's hot when we finish. And we're right in the middle now. It's in the middle of winter, and we have just finished our week of parent-teacher interviews. So parents have just received the reports of their students, of their children's progress, and now we get to talk with them one-on-one about how they think their child's going, and they have a lot of questions to ask us, and we talk about behavioural things, academic things, social things, and I want to testify and reflect upon the amazing power of communication. So within the school setting, there are many different types of communication that need to happen. And this also made me reflect, finally, coming towards the end of the week now, on communication with God and God's communication with us. So I've just broken it down into a few little categories. And firstly, I wanted to highlight the communication that goes on between a teacher and a student. The teacher's communication is especially important because you're there as a leader. You need to communicate clearly what your expectations are, what kind of learning you're expecting them to progress through, and what they need to be able to do at the end of the learning to confirm that they have actually learnt that content. So as a fairly new classroom teacher, it's just been impressed on me so much the importance of backward planning. So you need to come up with the assessment first. What is it? What kind of project are they going to use to display all of their learning in? And then you work backwards from there, working out what kind of activities they will need to work through in order to get to that final project. So I've been really fascinated by this process and how children are, learning or not learning because of your good communication skills or lack of communication skills. Yeah, this is a never-endingly interesting thing to study. Secondly, communication with parents. So teachers and parents. Parents are sensitive. They have a lot of investment in their children. They see them day after day, but they don't see them in the classroom. So they love their children dearly, but they are very curious about how their child is behaving, how they're interacting, how they're learning. And the teacher has a very important role to deliver that information to the parents. What is the growth that's happening in that child, and helping the parent to really feel what the child's going through in school, and then conveying to them how they can help their child at home to do better in the school environment. So it's a fascinating a fascinating, communication pattern that happens between teachers and parents. I realized also the regularity of communication is very important because it eliminates the possibility of big surprises. So, for example, the parent might have thought that their child was doing well in English, but when it comes to mid-year report, they were just approaching the standard rather than at the standard. And then the parent feels very emotional about it because there's not enough communication. So that regularity of communication is so vital to a healthy relationship. Now, the communication between parents and children, when I'm talking to parents, I am moved to sit back and listen to their stories about how they really deeply desire for their child to be a good person, a person who can communicate well, who can have fun, who's got a sense of humor, who's active and academic and able to achieve their goals. And I'm really moved by parents who spend the time to put devices away and to sit down and have good conversations with their children. This has been wonderful to open my eyes to society in this way, to see how much parents love their children and really put the effort in terms of communication with their children. One thing I forgot to mention earlier about communication to students. Every day that I go through as a teacher, I continually come home to this point that it's so important to model what you are teaching. So if I'm teaching creative writing, model it on the board, sentence by sentence by sentence by sentence. So in Australia, we have a big emphasis on getting children to come up with their own ideas. And I really believe this is great, but I really believe that modelling is even greater than that. If you can model good writing that's effective and involves your, heart, soul, spirit, body, it involves everything, and you can model that to the student, their growth in writing, their maturity level in writing just catapults forward so much more quickly. So that modelling is essential. And 2 more points. So there are so many different types of students in the schooling system. Sometimes you can have like 5 years difference, but from one student to another within 1 year level. So one child might be at a grade 1 level in terms of reading, but another student in the same class can be up to a grade 5, 6 or 7 year level in reading within the same class. So the teacher has to think really broadly and to be able to differentiate the activities for a big array of skills. And so sometimes, I love to get really goofy, and I have these glasses that, I put on. They're big black rimmed glasses, and in the middle, instead of having glass or plastic, they've got a lady's eyes painted on them, and they're kind of freaky because they're so big and they've got makeup on them and they've got quite an intense look. And I put these on when I need to communicate with people who just think, mate, like maths is not for me. I can't do it. I've never been able to do it. I'm stupid. I can't do it. So usually when I side up with those students and we're looking down at the book or looking down at the little whiteboard and we're doing our work, I secretly slip on my freaky women's glasses. And when they look at me, they just freak out. And I say, why are you looking at me, mate? I put on accents. Hey, mate, why are you looking at me? What's the matter? Why are you making me feel bad about myself? And then they just crack up laughing. Just the fact that you can be totally crazy and put yourself down like that, it completely loosens up the atmosphere so that they can laugh and relax in a subject where they usually felt so downtrodden. And then, once they got one concept and they just run with it, you go, hey, mate, there's a speed limit in maths, slow down, will you? It's too fast. What are you doing? And then they just crack up again and again, and you just can't stop them from completing their worksheets, 10 times faster than they did before. So, different types of communication. And then I did say I had one more point. So communication between teachers. Because I'm an early, I've only taught a little bit in the classroom, I do tend to sit back. But at the same time, I know I've got a lot to share. So it's keeping the balance between staying humble and learning a lot and also standing up to be confident and showing what I have to give. I'm really enjoying this. And I'm so glad that God has given me the confidence and also the humbleness, the humility through a big variety of situations, and then be able to learn and show, learn and show, all back and forward. And I'm finding that this has just really helped me to have a good relationship with teachers, and learn a lot, give and take in a fast way. In my situation, I'm a co-teacher, so we're just seeing such great improvement in the students and in our own teaching as well. So in reflection, thinking about this week, for me, it's all been about different types of communication, and it made me look overall at the incredible power of communication in many different facets, many different relationships, and that communication is shedding light. Communication is shedding light. God is always communicating with us. He's shedding light on our relationship with Him, and He's always shedding the light on the purpose for which He created us, and shedding light on the state of the world, the state of the body, soul, mind, spirit, always shedding light. And He does this through giving us the Word, and that Word clarifies. It's such a wonderful thing that God is communicating on a daily basis with us through the Lord at this time. And I'm sure as you go through Providence, whether you're a bit older like I am, you've been in Providence for a while, or you've just come, you realize the clarity of God's communication and what a power of cleansing and clarifying it has in our lives. So this is my testimony for today, and no matter who you are, I hope that there's something that you were able to take away from this, and I hope it's something that's useful for you in your daily life. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend coming up, and it's really great to be able to share with you. Peace.
And there it is. That is Let's Testify with Thule in Australia. I hope you guys really, really enjoyed that more than anything else. I am super grateful and thankful to her. She's just been putting out some amazing content, and I hope that you guys can keep encouraging her and leaving comments down for her, because she's doing a great job. Great testimony, and hope that all of us here will benefit more and more from this program. If you want to be in the interview, you have something to testify about, go ahead and contact Thule. You'll have her email address in the description below in both SoundCloud and YouTube. All right, everyone, this is the end of today's podcast for the entire week. Hope you guys had an amazing time, and I hope you guys will have an amazing weekend together with the Lord. Relax, have a great time, recharge, have an amazing Sunday service, and I'm really, really hoping, super hoping that the Wi-Fi is strong enough over there at the camp so that I can do my Monday podcast on time. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys again on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly, so let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone,